Chapter 40.
I don't remember whether I have missed any class subsequently. Last class was on 28th of May, if I am right.
Yes. 30.
That
That is 13th chapter, right, Kusum?
113,
Yes,
40.
Mataji. 13th
Kusum. Amal?
chapter 43.
13.
You have to start 43. 13.43.
40.
43, Mataji. 43.
43. I think we have to start with Narad Uvacha. We have done that. Yes, he says, O king, we'll do just a small recap. Narada says, O pious king, do not remember, do not lament. Yes, we did this. Everyone is under the control of the Lord. For time being, living entities, they all come together, and then afterwards, it is Lord who brings the people together and afterwards disperses them. And then, as a cow bound to the nose by a long rope is conditioned, so also human beings are conditioned by different Vedic injunctions and are conditioned to obey the orders of the Lord. So, Yudhishthira Maharaj is lamenting because the Dhritarashtra has left, Vidura has left, his aunt has left. So now Narada says, it is only by the will of Lord people come together, the living entities come together, and then afterwards is by the will of Lord, everyone disperses. Now, first canto, 13th chapter, 43rd verse. Yatha kridopaskara samyoga vigamam. Aneja Prabhu, mute your phone. Samyoga vigamaviha. Samyoga vigamaviha. Vigamaviha. Ichaya kreditu syatam. Tathaiveshi nulam. Yatha, as much as krida upaskaranam, playthings, krida upaskaranam, playthings, samyoga, union, vigamau, disunion, iha, in this world, ichaya, by the will of, vidituhu, just to play a part, syatam, takes place, tatha, so also, eva, certainly, isha, the Supreme Lord, ichaya, by the will of nulam, of the human beings. As a player sets up and disperses his playthings according to his own sweet will, so the supreme will of the Lord brings men together and separates them. So the creation is Leela of Krishna. That means he wants to enjoy. Like the child, when the child plays, he takes different things and then sits and plays. And after that, dismantles everything. You have blocks, isn't it? There are so many children who have blocks. They make a castle out of the blocks. They'll make a house out of the blocks. And when they are tired or they want to do some other activities out of their own will, they will disperse everything. In the same way, it is Krishna's independence. It is Krishna's will that he has created. So creation, it is his desire. Maintenance, again, is his desire. Destruction is also his desire. That means, what are we? Our desires has no value. We are just puppets in his hand. So something sometimes we tell, I desire. I can desire, but it is not necessary that my desire need to be fulfilled. If Krishna's desire is to fulfill our desire, then Krishna will do it. Not necessary that whatever I desire, it should happen. So sometimes it happens. Sometimes it doesn't happen. So when it is not happening, when it doesn't happen, when Krishna sees that the desire is not fulfilling my desire, then our desires are not fulfilled. And Krishna sees, yes, the desires are you can say, favorable in serving me, then Krishna allows it to happen. Sometimes Krishna allows even the wrong desires to get fulfilled. Like somebody wants to drink cigar. When his desire is fulfilled, no? Somebody wants to loot a house. Somebody wants to do all the violent activities. Again, his desire is also fulfilled. Because Krishna knows the consequences. His desire will lead him to hell. So Krishna allows that person to go to hell. But when it comes to dealing with the devotees, then Krishna interferes in the desire. Krishna sees that the desire which supports Krishna consciousness or supports to help in Krishna consciousness, and Krishna fulfills the desire. Like you want to study a subject, you want to study Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna gives the knowledge. You have desire, but then you think, how am I going to do? Now, how am I going to learn the verses? I have already crossed 60 years. Whether these things are going to enter my head or not. But Krishna allows. Because he sees by studying Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, you are fixed up, your nishtha increases more. So then Krishna allows the desire to be fulfilled. I was just contemplating yesterday in the yatras, we are making people run like anything. Especially 3 days, last 3 days of the yatra was morning 3 o'clock to wake up and night 11 o'clock. In between only travel. From where special energy, all 60 plus people. But the special energy, how Krishna, because the desire is to see Lord. And Krishna allows it to happen. Everybody became very smart, active. And no complaints, nothing. I don't know, after coming home, they must have got this ache, that ache, back ache, leg ache, everything. That is a 2 days rest. So in this way, it is Krishna who allows the desire to get fulfilled, who allows. When it comes in the matter of devotees, he interferes. Okay. So Kusum read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. That's enough. यथा क्रीडोपष्कराणया क्रीडितु स्यातां तथैवेश्चाय नृणाम्. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As a player sets up and disperses his playthings according to his own sweet will, so the supreme will of the Lord brings men together and separates them. Purport: we must know for certain that the particular position in which we are now set up is an arrangement of the supreme will in terms of our own acts in the past. The Supreme Lord is present as the localized Paramatma in the heart of every living being, as it is said in the Bhagavad Gita 13.23, and therefore he knows everything of our activities in every stage of our lives. He rewards the reactions of our actions by placing us in some particular place. A rich man gets his son born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but the child who came as the rich man's son deserves such a place, and therefore he is placed there by the will of the Lord. And at a particular moment, when the child has to be removed from that place, he is also carried by the will of the Supreme, even if the child or the father does not wish to be separated from the happy relation. The same thing happens in the case of a poor man also. Neither rich man nor poor man has any control over such meetings or separations of living beings. The example of a player and his playthings should not be misunderstood. One may argue that since the Lord is bound to award the reactionary results of our own actions,
Your voice is not heard.
the example of a player cannot not heard, Mataji.
Now it's heard. Tell.
But it is not so. We must always remember that the Lord is a supreme will and he is not bound by any law. Generally, the law of karma is that one is awarded the result of one's own actions. But in special cases, by the will of the Lord, such resultant actions are changed also. But this change can be affected by the will of the Lord only and no other. Therefore, the example of the player cited in this verse is quite appropriate, for the supreme will is absolutely free to do whatever he likes, and because he is all perfect, there is no mistake in any of his actions and or reactions. These changes of resultant actions are especially rendered by the Lord when a pure deity is involved. It is assured in the Bhagavad Gita 9.30 to 31 that the Lord saves the pure devotee who has surrendered unto him without reservation from all sorts of reactions of sins. And there is no doubt about this. There are hundreds of examples of reactions changed by the Lord in the history of the world. If the Lord is able to change the reactions of one's past deeds, then certainly he is not himself bound by any action or reaction of his own deeds. He is perfect and transcendental to all laws. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
So if the Lord is able to change the reactions of one's past deeds, then certainly he is not himself bound by any action or reaction of his. He is perfect and is transcendental to all laws. So in this way, it is our karmas actually. It is our karma which gives us the reaction. Okay. Let us see the next verse, 44th verse. Yanmanyase dhruvam lokam adhruvam vanacho bhayam sarvatana hi shocyaste snehadanyatra mohajat. Yet, even though manyase, you think, dhruvam, absolute truth, lokam, persons, adhruvam, non-reality, va either, na nor, na or not, cha also, ubhayam or both wise, sarvatha in all circumstances, na never, he certainly, sochayaha, subject for lamentation, te, subject for lament, they, sneha, due to affection, anyatraha, or otherwise, mohaja, due to bewilderment. O king, in all circumstances, whether you consider the soul to be an eternal principle, or the material body to be perishable, or everything to exist in the impersonal absolute truth, or everything to be an inexplicable combination of matter and spirit, feelings of separation are due only to illusory affection, nothing more. So whatever the emotional feelings are there is nothing but the game of illusory energy. So in whatever way, whether you consider living entity, individual part and parcel, or whatever way you want to consider, anyhow, whatever the Jiva Brahman, Jada Brahman coming together, then again having byproducts, whatever affection we are having, whatever sentiments we are having, there is nothing but the effects of illusory energy. Sundari Prabhu, read this. Voice is not heard. Voice is not heard. Read fast.
Now, Mataji.
Yeah.
Okay. Yan manyase dhruvam lokam adharvam va na chovyam sarvata na hi shocyaste snehad anyatra mohajahat. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O king, in all circumstances, whether you consider the soul to be an eternal principle, or the material body to be perishable, or everything to exist in impersonal absolute truth, or everything to be an inexplicable combination of matter and spirit, feeling of separations are due only to illusory affection and nothing more. Purport. The actual fact is that every living being is an individual part and parcel of Supreme Being, and his constitutional position is subordinate cooperative service. either in his constitutional material existence or in his liberated position of full knowledge and eternity. The living entity is eternally under the control of Supreme Lord. But those who are not conversant with factual knowledge put forward many speculative propositions about the real position of the living entity. It is admitted, however, by all schools of philosophy that the living being is eternal and that the covering body of the five material elements is perishable and temporary. The eternal living entity transmigrates from one material body to another by the law of karma, and material bodies are perishable by their fundamental structure. Therefore, there is nothing to be lamented in the case of souls being transferred into another body or the material bodies perishing at a certain stage. There are others who also who believe in the merging of the spirit soul in the supreme spirit when it is uncovered by the material engagement. And there are others also who do not believe in the existence of spirit or soul, but believe in tangible matter. In our daily experience, we find so many transformations of matter from one form to another, but we do not lament such changing features. In either of the above cases, the force of divine energy is uncheckable. No one has any hand in it, and thus there is no cause of grief. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Okay. Because there is no cause of grief. It's in either of the above cases, the force of divine energy is uncheckable. It's Lord who brings people together, Lord who brings emotions also at the same time, Lord separates. So there is nothing, we cannot do anything with that. Matra sparshastu kaunte, that Krishna says. Just tolerate. Bas. Tasmad jaha jayang jayang vaiklevyam अज्ञानकृतम् आत्मनः कथं त्वनात्तः कृपणा वर्तेरंस्ते चमां विना तस्मात् therefore Jahi give up, O Anga, the king, Vaiklavyam, mental disparity, all this confusion, just come out, Agyana. It's all because of ignorance. Krutam Agyana. Atmanah Katham. Tu Anatha. So you may consider yourself as Anatha. That is because of your Kripana, poor creatures, Kripana because of your own miserliness. Varteran, be able to survive. Tede cha also Mame Vina without. Therefore, give up your anxiety due to ignorance of the self. You're not thinking of how they who are helpless, pure creatures will exist without you. Sometimes you think, oh, we are the ones who are the caretakers, isn't it? Everybody exists without everyone. But it is our ignorance. Now here, this is a very important point. We think that nothing can happen without me. Everything runs. And then when we went to Yatra, in the temple practically there was no fruit. A person who seems to be like an atheist came and asked, do you all want anything? Then our Niranjan told, we don't have fruits. Okay, I'll provide a lot of fruits. So just see who has not much faith, but he is very good donor. But he just came. Sometimes he gets very angry, sometimes. Somehow he came. When Lord wants something, he will arrange. We are not the caretakers. It is not that because of me, somebody is going to be even if I am not there, also God takes care. Now Narada is telling this with what confidence? His mother went in the previous birth. He lost his mother at the age of 5, but still he survived. If Lord wants, the child will survive. Lord wants, then everything happens. We think that it is only because of me everything is happening. That is our problem. It is all illusory energy. So you are thinking that what will happen to these poor creatures? It is Lord who will take care. Kala karma gunadhino dehoyam panchabhautikah kathamanyamstu gopayat sarpagrasto yathaparam. So now this gross body, how it is made up of? Kala, eternal time, karma, action, guna, modes of nature. Adhina, under the control of Deha, material body, and mind. I am this Panchabhutaka. It is made up of Panchabhautika. Katham, how, Anyan, others, too, but Gopayat, give protection, Sarvagrasta. One who is bitten by the snake, it has, which has Param, others. The gross material body made of 5 elements. Made of 5 elements is already under the control of eternal time, Kala, action, karma, and the modes of material nature, guna. How then can it already being already in the jaws of the serpent protect others? Nice question. Very nice question. Already we are suffering. How is it that I am going to take care of anyone? I am also suffering. Huh? I am also under the influence of Kala, karma, guna. So all this is actually an illusion. Nothing but a burden taking on the head. No one takes care of anyone. It's Lord who takes care. Sometimes my parents say, we are all alone. I go, it's Lord who takes care. It happens. If everything else remove and then sit with them, then how the preaching activities and all will happen. And I practically seen, yes, in all their life, everything, Krishna helps them. A simple example, they both are old people, 90, 92 people. And at least now they are near my sister's house. But that time they were alone, practically alone. One cannot see, my father cannot see. My mother, old lady. Night she has been calling both of us because my father fell down very severely. And we kept her phone off. None of us are very useful to her. She called Balkrishna. The night, 12 o'clock, Balkrishna ran along with Niranjan. They didn't have 1 rupee with them. They just admitted, because in the admission, when you admit somebody in the hospital, you need some money, isn't it? My mother also was like, she was helpless. But just see, they just took the father, admitted. In the morning she's telling, Lord will help. I said, yes, don't think that your daughters or anyone, no one is going to come. When Lord desires, it has to happen, it will happen. And he's now fit, he's walking. He fell so severely. So it is a wrong understanding that all the children should be together and then you perform your activities for Krishna. Krishna takes care of everyone. Every one of us have to go old. It's very 92 is not so easy. But if then we, because of the sentiments, oh, I am the person who's going to take care. I'll be with my father. I'll be with my mother. I'll go on looking at her every day. It doesn't work. Then all the missionary activities also have to be stopped and just look at them and sit. But if I have that faith, yes, Krishna is there to look at them. And it really happens. At every circumstances I have seen, Krishna helps them. I just pray to Lord, oh Lord, you help them. But it is only you who does that. We think that I am taking care. No. What maximum I can do? I can catch hold of their hand and make them walk that much only. Nothing more. And all these sentiments, especially when you have so much of sentiment, oh, they are my people, so much of sentiment. These are all again illusory energy. Who was my father in the past life? Who will be my father in the next life? Who will be my mother in the next? All these are sentiments. But in real sense, if you understand, it's Lord who takes care. Every step you'll find, it happens. So that is how it is said. Who can protect? Can I protect someone? I am also in the clutches of death, isn't it? Kala. How can I protect someone? I am not the one who is the protector. It is Lord who protects everyone. Okay, Vandana Mataji Devi. Vandana Devi.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Mataji, then should I read from the text 45 because that was not read? Or tasma jah angavaikalpam anjana kritam atmanah katham tva anathaha kripan varte varteyam te cha
Kripana.
mahavinah.
Katham Tvanatah Kripana. Varteramste cha mam vina. Okay, read the translation purport.
Translation. Therefore, give up your anxiety due to ignorance of the self. You are now thinking of how they who are helpless, poor creatures will exist without you. Purport. When we think of our kith and keens as being helpless and dependent on us, it is all due to ignorance. Every living creature is allowed all protection by the order of Supreme Lord in terms of each one's acquired position in the world. The Lord is known as Bhuta Bhrata, one who gives protection to all living beings. One should discharge his duties only. One should discharge his duties for one no for no one but Supreme Lord can give protection to anyone else. This is explained more clearly in the following verse. Hare Krishna.
Okay, read 46. Somebody else read. Dayasagar Prabhu, you read 46.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Kala karma gunadinno dehanyam pancha bhautikaha katam anyans tu gopayet sarpagrasto yataparam. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This gross material body made of 5 elements is already under the control of eternal time, kala, action, karma, and the modes of material nature, guna. How then can it, being already in the jaws of serpent, protect others? Purport. The world's movements for freedom through political, economical, social, and cultural propaganda can do no benefit to anyone, or they are controlled by superior power. A conditional living being is under the full control of material nature, represented by eternal time and activities under the dictation of different modes of nature. There are 3 material modes of nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. Unless one is situated in the mood of goodness, one cannot see things as they are. The passionate and the ignorant cannot even see things as they are. Therefore, a person who is passionate and ignorant cannot direct his activities on the right path. Only the man in the quality of goodness can help to a certain extent. Most persons are passionate and ignorant, and therefore their plans and projects can hardly do any good to others. Above the moods of nature is eternal time, which is called Kala, because it changes the shape of everything in the material world. Even if we are able to do something temporarily beneficial, time will see that the good project is frustrated in course of time. The only thing possible to be done is to get rid of eternal time, Kala, which is compared to Kala Sarpa, or the cobra snake, whose bite is always lethal. No one can be saved from the bite of a cobra. The best remedy for getting out of the clutches of the cobra-like kala or its integrity, the modes of nature, is Bhakti Yoga, as it is recommended in Bhagavad Gita 14.26. The highest perfectional project of philosophic activities is to engage everyone in the act of preaching Bhakti Yoga all over the world, because that alone can save the people from the control of Maya, or the material nature represented by Kala, Karma, and Guna as described above. The Bhagavad Gita 14.26 confirms this definition. Hare Krishna.
This gross material body is made up of 5 elements already under the control. And how is it that it is going to protect others? Then, ahastani sahasthanam apadani chatuspadam falguni tatra mahatam jivo jivasya jivanam. Chant this verse, jivo jivasya jivanam. This is the verse. It is actually from 47th verse of Bhagavatam. Jivo jivasya jivanam. Every jiva is another jiva's ahara. You cannot say you should not eat. Now you cannot tell the fish that you should not eat the small insects or whatever it is. You cannot tell the alligators you should not eat the fish. Jivo jivasya jivanam. Serpents will eat frogs. Frogs will eat some other creatures. Jivo jivasya jivanam. That is how it is come. Ahastani, one who is not having hands. Sahastani, one who is having hands. Apadani, one who is not having legs. Chatupadam, one who has 4 legs. Falguni, one who is weak. Mata, one who is powerful. So somebody may not have hands, somebody may have hands, somebody may not have legs, somebody may have 4 legs, somebody is weak, somebody is strong. But the general rule is jivo jivasya jivanam. Like somebody asks, why you are eating fruits and vegetables? That is given for us. And that also contains jivas. That is why we take care. When you cut a vegetable, you don't cut the upper portion, because there the jivas are there. Because when the flower matures into the fruit, so jivas are generally on the upper portion. So when you cut a tomato or an apple, you just slice out the upper portion. So slice out the upper portion and then you cut. That is how you can minimize your sinful activities. Actually, say no, but what to do? Jivo jivasya jivan. And then you offer it to Lord in this way. You spiritualize your activity. Okay? But a non-vegetarian thing is not given to us. You cannot eat creatures, because then you don't have teeth for that. Our teeth are not meant for doing. Our teeth are not meant for eating something which is very hard. We are not carnivores, we are herbivores. ठीक है. Aneja Prabhu, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Ahastani sahastanam padani chatushpadam falguni tatra mahatam jivo jivasya jivanam. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those who are divides of hands are prey for those who have hands. Those divide of legs are prey for the 4-legged. The weak are the subsistence of the strong, and the general rule holds that one living being is food for another. Systematic view of subsistence in the struggle for existence is there by the supreme will, and there is no escape for anyone by any amount of planning. The living beings who have come to the material world against the will of the Supreme are under the control of a supreme power called Maya Shakti, the deputy agent of the Lord, and this Daivi Maya is meant to pinch the conditioned souls by threefold miseries, one of which is explained here in this verse. The weak are the subsistence of the strong. No one is strong enough to protect himself from the onslaught of a stronger, and by the will of the Lord, there are systemic categories of the weak, the stronger, and the strongest. There is nothing to be lamented if a tiger eats a weaker animal, including a man, because that is the law of the Supreme Lord. But although the law states that a human being must subsist on another living being, there is the law of good sense also, for the human being is meant to obey the laws of the scriptures. This is impossible for other animals. The human being is meant for self-realization, and for that purpose, he is not to eat anything which is not first offered to the Lord. The Lord accepts from his devotee all kinds of food preparations made of vegetables, fruits, leaves, and grains. Fruits, leaves, and milk in different varieties can be offered to the Lord, and after the Lord accepts the foodstuff, the devotee can partake of the prasada, by which all suffering in the struggle for existence will be gradually mitigated. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.26. Even those who are accustomed to eat animals can offer foodstuff not to the Lord directly, but to an agent of the Lord under certain conditions of religious rites. Injunctions of the scriptures are meant not to encourage the eaters of animals, but to restrict them by regulatory principles. The living being is the source of subsistence for other stronger living beings. No one should be very anxious of his subsistence in any circumstances, because there are living beings everywhere and no living being starves for want of food at any place. Maharaja Yudhishthir is advised by Narad not to worry about his uncle suffering for want of food, for they could live on vegetables available in the jungles as prasada of the Supreme Lord, and thus realize the path of salvation. Exploitation of the weaker living being by the stronger is the natural law of existence. There is always an attempt to devour the weak in different kingdoms of living beings. There is no possibility of checking this tendency by any artificial means under material conditions. It can be checked only by awakening the spiritual sense of the human being by practice of spiritual regulations. The spiritual regulatory principles, however, do not allow a man to slaughter weaker animals on one side and teach others peaceful coexistence. If man does not allow the animals peaceful coexistence, how can he expect peaceful coexistence in human society? The blind leaders must therefore understand the Supreme Being and then try to implement the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God or Ram Rajya is possible without the awakening of is impossible without the awakening of God consciousness in the mass mind of the people of the world. Hare.
Okay. So somebody is strong, somebody is weak. The kingdom of God or Ram Rajya is impossible without the awakening of God consciousness in the mass mind of the people. Blind leaders must therefore understand the Supreme Being and then try to implement the kingdom of God. So everywhere it will be peaceful only when we understand it is Lord who is running everything. It is not me, or it is not anyone. We can just be an instrument in the hand of God. So we'll take the last verse. Tadidam Bhagavan Rajan Eka Atmatmanam Sadruk Antaro Bhati Pashyatam Maya Yorudha. Therefore, idam, this manifestation, Bhagavan, the personality of God, Rajan, O King, Eka, one without a second, Atma, the super soul, Atmanam, by his energy, Swadrut, qualitatively with him, like him, Antara, without, Anantaraha, within and by himself, Bhati, so manifest, Pashyaha, look, come unto him only, Maya, by manifestations of different energies, Urudha appears to be many. So here Narada advises Yudhishthira Maharaj, just look at the Lord only, who is one without a second. And he appears in different energies and is there within and without. It is actually Lord who takes care of everyone. It is not I, you, or anyone. We may think I am taking care. The strength to take care is also given by him only. The moment he withdraws it, what will happen? Somebody has to take care of us. And that person thinks, oh, I am taking care. It's Lord who is one without a second, appears in different energies. Like to drink water also you need energy. Even to breathe also you need energy. Open the eyes, see, visionary power is also given by Lord. Lifting power is given by Lord. Prana Vayu is given by Lord. Everything is given by Lord. Then in what way am I doing anything? Like I am hungry. That hunger is also given by Lord. And to fill that, there is a food given. That is also given by Lord. And that food not only fills our stomach, satisfies our taste also. That means how much energy Krishna has put in everything. I may say, I make the best pizza. Oh, I make the best rotis. I may say many things. But for everything, even that energy is also given by Krishna. All the energy, the whole totality, power, whole cosmic manifestation, the power in it, everything is given by God. Okay, last verse it was. Vasandani Prabhu, you will continue. Nikhil Jumar a little bit. You see, there how some work is going on.
Yes, Mataji. Tad idam Bhagwan. No. Ahastani sahastanam
Why? We
apada.
have done that. We have done that. Now 48 verse. Tat
We are
idam
on 40.
bhagavan
No,
rajan
sorry.
eka atmanam sadrup.
Right. Tad idam Bhagwan Rajan Eka Atmatmanam Swadrak Antaro Anantaro Bhati Pashyatam Maya Rudha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Therefore, O king, you should look to the Supreme Lord only, who is one without a second and who manifests himself with different energies and is both within and without. Purport. The Supreme Lord Personality of Godhead is one without a second, but he manifests himself in different energies because he is by nature blissful. The living beings are also manifestations of his marginal energy, qualitatively one with the Lord, and there are innumerable living beings, both within and without the external and internal energies of the Lord. Since the spiritual world is manifestation of the Lord's energy, the living beings within that internal potency are qualitatively one with the Lord without contamination from external potency. Although qualitatively one with the Lord, the living being, due to contamination of the material world, is pervertedly manifested, and therefore he experiences so-called happiness and distress in the material world. Such experiences are all ephemeral and do not affect the spirit soul. The perception of such ephemeral happiness and distress is due only to the forgetfulness of his qualities, which are equal to the Lord's. There is, however, regular current from there is, however, regular current from the Lord Himself, from within and without, by which to rectify the fallen condition of the living being. From within, he corrects the desiring living beings as localized Paramatma, and from without, he corrects by his manifestations. The spiritual master and the revealed scriptures, one should not one should look unto the Lord. One should not be disturbed by the so-called manifestations of happiness or distress, but he should try to cooperate with the Lord in his outward activities for correcting the fallen soul. By his order only, one should become a spiritual master and cooperates with the Lord. One should not become a spiritual master for one's personal benefit, for one material gain, or as an avenue of business or occupation for earning livelihood. Bona fide spiritual masters who look unto the Supreme Lord to cooperate with Him are actually qualitatively one with the Lord, and the forgetful ones are perverted reflections only. Yudhishthir Maharaj is advised by Narada, therefore, not to be disturbed by the affairs of so called happiness and distress, but to look only unto the Lord to execute the mission for which the Lord has descended. That was his prime duty. Hare Krishna Mataji.
So what was this? Yudhishthir Maharaj advised by Narada, therefore, not to be disturbed by the affairs of so-called happiness distress, but to look out indeed into the Lord to execute the mission for which the Lord has descended. So whatever Lord has given the duty, that has to be done. And that is a higher duty which has been done, which has to be done. The higher duty which has been given is what? That is to take care of the kingdom. That is his work, and he has to do that. So that is why here, don't look at your happiness or distress, just do whatever the work has been given to you. So here we'll stop. In this chapter, we have 60 verses.
Mataji, one clarification can I ask?
Yeah.
One clarification. This fourth sentence of the purport, it says, and there are innumerable living beings both within and without the external and internal energies of Lord. So anything is with the external or eternal energies of the Lord. Who are the living beings which are there without the external or internal energy of the Lord? Is it marginal energy, that is human beings, or it is referring to something else?
Shara Jiva, Akshara Jiva. Shara Jivas, Akshara Jivas. They are also energy of the Lord only, na? Akshara Jivas.
It says there are innumerable living beings both within and without the external and internal energy of the Lord. I wanted to understand who are the living
There are
beings which are
innumerable
without the
living
external
beings.
or internal energy of the
Without,
Lord.
one minute. There are innumerable living beings, both within and without the external and internal energies of the Lord. Both within the external energy. Let us take one by one. No? Within the external, within the internal. There are innumerable living beings.
Yes.
Within and without.
They are driven by the either external or internal energy of the Lord.
Wait. Within the external. That means there are Shara Jivas. Within internal Akshar Jivas. Without the external. Without external means that is within internal, na? Opposite, na?
Oh, which is without external is for internal, and which is without internal is
Without
for
external energy. Without external energy. That means what? It is internal energy. Without internal energy, that means external energy.
But it is negating the both, without the external and internal energies of
When you
God.
say within, na, it is positive. When you
Okay.
say without, it is negative. And negative becomes positive. Shara and Akshara Jivas has been mentioned. Within, without. And also you can also understand within, without. Within yourself, you have so many jivas. External, you have so many jivas. Those who are outside, so many jivas are there. Within, there are so many jivas are there. Within, external energy. What is external energy? What is internal? External is the that is material world or Jada Brahman. External. This is external body. External. Within that there are so many. External. Outside. Outside this outside. That means there are living entities everywhere. Within yourself also there are so many living entities who have taken shelter of your body. Again, within, without. There's so many external, so many living entities outside also. Okay. And there are external energies within the internal energy of Lord. The internal energy is the Vaikuntha Loka also, you can say. Internal potency of Lord. Vaikuntha is also internal potency. Jiva itself is also internal potency. Marginal potency is also internal potency. Because when the words came, Bhumira Polano Kamano Buddhirevacha, Ankaritiyam me Bhinna Prakriti Ashtada, Apareyam Itastwanyam, Prakriti Middhi me Param, Jivabhutam Mahabahu, Yedam Darite Jagat. Apareyam Itastwana. Beyond this external energy, there is an internal energy. And that internal energy is technically called as marginal energy because it can glide down towards external energy or can shift to the internal potency of Lord. Understand its position. So within this external energy, there are many living entities. I myself also one of the living entity within this body. And within that internal energy, there are more energy. There are more living entities who have taken shelter. Outside this external energy, that is this body, there are so many living entities who are moving. That is one way to understand. Sammanbonam is, there are many living entities. Okay.
Okay.
So we have 11 verses to complete. We'll try to do it in 2 classes. Next week we'll complete this. So till 12th chapter, all have given examination. All over. 13, 14, 15 will be the next examination. 13th we'll try to complete. 14th and 15th by August. And then 16, 17, 18, 19 will be the last. So by this year, we'll try to complete this canto. So the next year we'll start with 2nd canto, Bhagavatam. Okay, try to study each and every verse.